Welcome to the I Hate Critics Movie Review Podcast. I'm professional film critic Sean Patrick. With me is Jeff.
Am I? Oh, I am here.
Are you here,
you.
Jeff?
Am I with you? I
Jeff?
don't know. I don't know.
It's a Zoom. I can see you.
Oh shit. I'm crouching down so you can't see me.
You've got shows coming up.
This Saturday, September 30th, I will be in Park Ridge, Illinois at the Pickwick Theater, slinging my wares at the Massacre. It's a horror film festival. There's a David Lynch short films tribute. There's Prom Night, starring Jamie Lee Curtis from 1980, which I did a very, very limited version print for the show. Bride of Frankenstein, which I also did a very limited print of. Some really good stuff coming up this weekend. So, and then in 2 weeks from this weekend, I'll be in Ottumwa, Iowa at Halloween-a-Palooza. And they're having a mini Fright Night reunion with the cast of the 1986 film. So 86, 85. I think it's 85. Incidentally, so it'll be William Ragsdale, who was the lead. It'll be Amanda Bierce, who everybody remembers from Married with Children. And then Stephen Jeffries, who played Evil Ed, who was also later, after his Hollywood career fell apart, he got into gay porn.
Oh.
And his name was Sam Ritter. And I've seen him. I mean, not that I watch a lot of gay porn, but I have seen him in stuff. Especially, have you ever been to a gay bar where they're showing porn on the TVs? They had a Sam Ritter night because he was in town for something, and he was coming to the bar I was at, and he was on the. They're just showing old 90s movies of him, and I did not put two and two together until much, much later.
Wow.
So,
will they also be rolling out the corpse of Roddy McDowall, or? They're going to leave that.
Well, I mean, they could.
That would make it scary. That would make it extra scary.
I was kind of hoping that they'd announce Chris Sarandon, but I don't think so. With only 2 weeks to go, I think it's just a few celebrity guests. So, yeah, that should be fun. I'm doing a Fright Night print in honor of that show as well. Hopefully, I'll be able to afford to have all three of them sign it. So go to my website right now, jefflaster.com, and buy some prints because there are a lot of them on sale. As I try to migrate away from Etsy.
I think you'd do a great job at do the ear from Blue Velvet in the grass with a little Kyle MacLachlan in the background. That would look cool. In your style, that would look amazing.
Maybe I will. Maybe somebody should commission me to do that.
Maybe.
I don't know. But yeah, I'll have stickers and prints and some of my old paperback book collection that I'm getting rid of. And yeah, so come and see me this weekend if you're in the Chicago area at the at Park Ridge at the Pickwick Theater. 11:30 a.m. until late. Lots of vendors, lots of scary movies, and lots of cool people. Hopefully, if the last several years have been any indication, it'll be a lot of fun.
Very cool.
What do you got
myself? I've got Paul Thomas Anderson week going at a medium.com/realscope, where I'm posting some reviews of Paul Thomas Anderson movies this week, ahead of course the release of One Battle After Another, which comes out on Friday. My review of that will go up on Friday morning. But yeah, then There Will Be Blood and Punch Drunk Love so far, with plans to do Phantom Thread and Magnolia before the week is over. So those are still to come this week. Also did our classic, which is La La Land. I did an opening shots column on that for this week. It was actually shown on the rooftop here in our area, La La Land, and sold out 2 nights in a row which I say that because it just shocked me. I did not realize that I knew people liked that movie. I didn't know that it was selling out crowds going to see La La Land, 10 years later. Nothing against it. I love La La Land.
Well,
like I said, I wrote an entire column about it, but
let me put it this way. the people that go to the Last Picture House are going to be people who will sell that out. The people who go to Cinemark are not going to sell that out.
It's a different audience. Very true.
Completely different audience. One group likes cheap movies. The other one likes cinema.
One's going to have sellout crowds for The Strangers Chapter 2 this weekend. Oh, man. That's going to be fun. Anyway, so Paul Thomas Anderson week. I've got those reviews up there. I've also got reviews of several other new movies, including The Cut, starring Orlando Bloom, which is it's not intended to be horror porn, but it kind of is torture horror porn as a boxing movie.
Oh, is Katy Perry singing in it? His girlfriend.
He's a boxer who has to lose 30 pounds in 2 weeks, and he does so through torture, just basically torture. So
listening to Katy Perry until he loses his appetite. Got it. That's what I should do.
Perry catching some strays.
Oh God, I wish she'd go back to space and not come down. That's just me being mean because she sucks.
I find that that along with reviews of the Baltimorons and which is Jay Duplass's new movie, which is quite good, and also Lily Singh's new movie, Doin It, which I really expected to hate. I actually really enjoyed, and you can find that review there. Doin It is a sex comedy where a woman who is a virgin gets a job as a teacher who has to teach sex ed. And of course, she doesn't know anything about sex. She's never had it. But she actually turns out to be a very good teacher. And you can see the movie and see why. It's surprisingly very, very funny. Surprisingly, because Lily Singh's show wasn't particularly funny when she was on NBC. So nothing against her, the show just wasn't very good. So it didn't create exactly high anticipation for me to see her in a movie to explain that. Baltimorons is a movie I hated, and about 20 minutes in, I was like, I'm going to write a very fucking negative review of this movie, but I stuck with it because I'm a professional. I stuck it out, and it just kept getting better. From after the first 20 minutes, this obnoxious lead character actually began to grow on me, and by the end I was like, this is really good. I was actually kind of mad at myself almost. But that's what you get when you have an open mind, when you're able to view things as not being a binary, as this is wrong and this is right. If you keep an open mind while you're watching a movie, that kind of thing can happen, which I hopefully I tend to do just about every time, unless it's an Adam Sandler movie.
Well, obviously.
But that's based on evidence over time. So I'll give myself that out.
Fair enough.
So that's pretty much all the extra stuff that I wrote about. I tend, I prefer. I'm gonna keep mentioning movies that I've seen, and I'll give you kind of brief reviews on them. But if Jeff hasn't seen them, there isn't much of a conversation there.
Yeah, sorry, I can't see every movie, guys.
Because I see them all for free, so it helps. It helps me to be able to do that. All right, let's see. Where do we want to start? We want to start with football. Football and horror coming out in this movie called Him, directed by Justin Tipping and starring Marlon Wayans and Tyriq Withers.
Tyriq Withers,
in the story of football and horror. So basically, Tyriq Withers is an incredible high school or college football player. He's on his way to the NFL. He suffers an incredible injury when he's assaulted in the middle of the night by a crazed fan, I assume, that leaves him with a cracked skull. He's unable to participate in what they call the NFL Combine, which is one of the biggest media moments and the biggest hyped moments of the NFL draft period. He's not able to participate, but he gets a second chance when he's invited by the greatest quarterback of all time, played by Marlon Wayans, to come to this compound in Texas and work out with him. And if he gives him a positive review, he could still make it into the first round and become maybe one of the greatest quarterbacks of all time. I don't know what this movie is going for. It's an exciting looking movie. Visually, it's really entrancing. I think Justin Tipping's got an incredible eye. But overall, I watching the story unfold, I kept waiting for him to get to the point. What
Mm-hmm.
point are you trying to make? Because it seems like it appears at times like I thought this movie was going to be like Get Out. It was going to be where at some point there's this whole thing about him getting some of Marlon Wayans' blood in a transfusion, and it's like maybe they're setting this up to like he's going to take over Tyriq Withers' body somehow, and there's some kind of sci-fi thing that's going on here. That would have made sense, but that doesn't happen. Um, so then I'm like, well, I mean, it's not quite. It's certainly not all about Eve necessarily, because it's not really making any kind of point in that direction, really. It's really hard to know exactly what point this movie is making because it doesn't actually want to criticize football. And in the end, that's kind of what I thought when everybody was going in there going like, all right, we're coming after CTE. We're coming after,
Yeah.
the NFL and the dangers of playing the NFL and how it can damage the mind. And nope, this movie doesn't have that kind of balls. It's just a series of creepy visuals that are incredibly well crafted, but in the end, it's all in service of pretty much nothing.
Yeah, I from the trailer, what I thought was going to happen was that he developed CTE and he saw himself in all these visions and stuff, and it was kind of something like that. So I thought, oh, I'm really interested in it, but with some horror elements and whatever. But I I was really disappointed in how little happens in this. I saw the runtime; it was an hour and 36 minutes. And I was like, oh, cool. I mean, and I mean that in a good way, like cool. It's not, stretching it out to 2 hours like some movies that we've talked about recently that have done that for no reason. Um, but I thought by the end of it, I was like, there's got to be another like 20 minutes left in this, isn't there?
Mm-hmm.
And I surreptitiously, because I was one of the like three people in the theater, I looked at I'm like, oh, it's an hour and 36 minutes. It's almost over. What's going to happen? What could possibly happen? And then
Mm-hmm.
literally 5 minutes at the end of the movie is what explains everything that has supposedly happened. But, you know, um,
Explained is a generous word, I would say, but
well,
go ahead.
yeah. Who says, oh, this is what you think happened in the last hour and a half? Um, the only part of it that really kind of got me was when my friend, who I didn't know was in this movie, Naomi Grossman as Marjorie Taylor, or just Marjorie. I don't think she was supposed to be Marjorie Taylor Greene, but not butch enough. When she attacks Cam in the sauna, I was like, oh, now we're gonna get somewhere, and it just didn't. It just didn't do anything.
That ended that whole character and subplot meant absolutely nothing and did absolutely nothing in the end.
Yeah.
It really just was utterly pointless. Other than she's kind of a creepy visual. Um, like like if you crossed Lady Gaga with the ant from Weapons, like, and that's it. Just the
Yeah.
visual of that is all you get.
And there's no explanation for her, the two guys dressed as goats behind, like
Nothing.
why are they particularly into Marlon Wayans' character? Why are they dressed up like goats and hanging out his compound? And it was just nothing. And I was
Yeah.
really surprised because, produced by Jordan Peele, directed by Justin Tipping. You don't have to have Jordan Peele direct something for me to want to go see it. If he's picking stuff, I'm like, oh, okay, well, I'm intrigued. And then you get stuff like this. And I'm like, oh, well, I get maybe what they were going for, but it just didn't even come close to being something interesting.
Perhaps it's over my head. I mean, it very well could be. There could be other meanings to it that I'm just not picking up. I just don't know what that could be.
Yeah.
Um, I tried to go for the most simplistic answer. Like I thought maybe this was like a Jacob's Ladder scenario where he died from that
Yeah.
bonk in the head, and all of this that he's imagining is the life he would have had, but he's actually in the midst of dying or in a coma or something. And if this is all just like a nightmare scenario, yeah, that makes perfect sense. But that's not what's happening. Apparently, all of the shit that's happening in this movie is literal, I guess.
Yeah.
Maybe. But he's also being dosed with something that might be causing him to see things that aren't real. Maybe.
Mhm.
He also gets pretty drunk at one point and hallucinates something, but maybe he didn't hallucinate it. Maybe it did happen. I really
Yeah.
don't know. And the movie is just, it plays on those vagaries as a way of trying to pretend that something is happening, but it doesn't have the commitment to actually have something concrete happen. It's like a movie that wants to be about something, but wants to also be able to disown anything you might be thinking it's about. Like, hey, whoa, whoa, whoa. If you thought it was about this, hang on a second. It may not be about that.
Yeah.
And that's
Well,
kind of a cowardly way to make a movie if you don't have like a perspective of some kind. Now, I've talked about movies that have, just visual spectacle, and there are plenty of those that are quite good, that they don't necessarily have a bigger point, and that's perfectly all right. And in many ways, like I would say, this is like a 3 out of 5 movie because visually it's compelling. The performances are compelling. It's not. Somebody called this the worst movie of the year, and like, you're out of your fucking mind if you think
oh no,
this
they
is the
didn't see
worst
that.
movie of the year.
They didn't see Hurry Up Tomorrow.
That is also not the worst movie of the year, but never mind.
Well, it's one of them.
It's a, the point is that there's too much of this that is too good for me to say anything close to being like, I could almost partially recommend this if you like, maybe you got a little bit high and went to see this. Like visually,
Yeah.
it would totally be like, whoa, fuck, man. But like watching it sober and analyzing it, I was just continually disappointed by the inability of the movie to make one single point of any kind.
I kept going, okay, well, is it a treatise on football and how it damages people? No. Is it a treatise on racism and how it damages people in the public eye? Nope, not that. Is it, what is it? What is it? And it's nothing. It was just literally no point. There was nothing, they weren't
In
saying
order to
anything
be
about it.
in order to be great, you have to sell your soul, maybe? I
Yeah,
don't
but that's too.
but then he kills the people who are trying to buy his soul. So is he the
Yeah,
good guy because he killed the people who wanted to? But then he committed murder, so I can't necessarily say he's the good guy.
yeah,
What are you trying to say, movie? I don't
yeah.
know. I
Just
thought, like I said, Jim Jeffries is in this movie, and Jim Jeffries delivers one of the best performances. He's incredible. He's not known as an actor per se; he's a comedian. He doesn't act very often, but I thought he acted the hell out of this role, where he plays Marlon Wayans' doctor, who's giving these injections to Tyriq Withers' character, and kind of coming around to him, sympathetic to him, and then even whispers to him, "Run, get out of here!" That
yeah,
he's trying to warn him, and he ends up, getting what he gets for doing that. Um, I thought he was great, but I thought everybody in this movie was relatively great. It just
except
doesn't go
Julia
anywhere.
Fox. I do not like Julia Fox. I just don't like her. She was fine in this movie though.
Yeah,
But I saw her and I was like, oh God.
that she like doesn't go anywhere. Like she's Marlon Wayans' wife, and she's a influencer. And the movie doesn't condemn influencers. It doesn't make fun of her for being an influencer. It teases the idea that she may have slept with Tyriq Withers, but won't step up to that idea as to whether or not we're going to confront that, whether that happened or not. And
Yeah.
ultimately, she acts. They then make her like the one who's in charge of dealing out punishment in this situation, and it's like, where was that ever established? That she was
Right?
this important to football? Like that's never been established anywhere.
Yeah.
It's just that's why I'm mad. Is just this movie is so frustratingly good in so many ways. There's so many opportunities that this movie doesn't take. And in the end, it seems like it's afraid of taking any one tact for fear that it might make somebody angry.
Yep.
Don't want to make football fans angry. They might not come out.
And I
Don't want
thought my thing was like, okay, if you don't want to piss off football fans, well, then partner with a team, you know?
Yeah.
Don't make up a team in a league if you're gonna just not if you're not going out of your way to condemn football or offend some people, you know, it just doesn't make any sense for me.
There's still a story to tell. Even then, like, you could still make a football horror movie that doesn't condemn the NFL. That it is about a guy who is asked to sell his soul to be the greatest of all time. But then you need to make the movie about that. I don't think the movie is necessarily about that. The ending kind of throws that idea out the window.
Yeah.
What, like, the sacrifices that one must make to be the greatest of all time? Well, I mean, we all see, like, if you're like really into sports like me, then you know that, like, I know what Tom Brady did to get where he got. I know what kind of weirdo he is, but like his weirdness is so boring. He is the most boring, weird person on the planet. And it's like, I don't think there's a movie in that, I just don't. So yeah, and he's the purportedly like the greatest quarterback of all time. He's won more Super Bowls than anybody else, and uh, I don't know. The movie certainly has nothing to do with him or his legacy. It has just no, because again they cast Marlon Wayans as this great quarterback, so the racial dynamic is not necessarily what's at play here. Because it's one black quarterback versus another black quarterback. So you've kind of diffused the racial situation other than, the white owners, but that's never really addressed. Like Marlon Wayans doesn't express any bitterness about working for a white ownership team. So what was the racial dynamic of this? It's just one black quarterback versus another, and one of them's got to die. Like it's fucking, it's like, what is the fucking movie? The Quickening. They got to cut off the head to move to become the new
yeah.
Christopher Lambert and Sean Connery.
Highlander.
It's like Highlander. It's like football Highlander. That's really all it is. At the end, it's football Highlander. You've got to kill one black quarterback to be the new great black quarterback. There can be only one.
Oh.
That can't be the movie, can it? There's got to be more to it than that.
Yeah,
I mean, if that were the point, if you told me that ahead of time, I might be able to get on board, with the Highlander football remake.
If they had just said it's kind of a music video, stylized, no real plot, I've been like, okay, well, I'll go sit and watch it because that's got to be better than Hurry Up Tomorrow, which was basically the same thing. I'm just going to rag on that movie for some reason this week. Because it's raggable. Okay. It's gorgeously shot. Like every shot in this movie is perfect setup, perfect cinematography, makes you want a better movie to like be stuck in it. Just the, Tyriq Withers is actually really good. I was told you I was very surprised in I Know What You Did Last Summer, because I thought he was really good in that. I think he's going to be a really good actor someday. But I just, this movie doesn't really, it doesn't give anybody the kind of range except for Marlon Wayans. It is the Marlon Wayans show. Because he's doing the most acting of anybody.
Yeah. Go ahead. Sorry.
No, go ahead.
It's just when you say the most acting, you're dead on right, because and that oftentimes can cover up a lot of problems for people. It's like, well, look at him. He's doing the most acting. It's not necessarily the best acting, but you can definitely see he's acting. And again, nothing against Marlon Wayans. I thought he played the part extraordinarily well, but there is that capital A acting going on because he's the villain, and he's got that's a much easier thing to do to play the villain as opposed to the kid who is he's not quite a good guy. He's not quite a bad kid. We don't know who he is yet because he's really just not not fully formed yet. And we're
Yeah.
not going to see him fully formed before the movie is over, unless you count him murdering a whole large group of people who maybe needed to be murdered, I guess.
Yeah, I guess. I don't know. I want to say, because, when I said that, I meant, like, I didn't mean it as a necessarily bad thing, but it does, he does kind of chew the scenery a little bit more than I would like him to, because he's the villain.
Mhm.
But there were times when, and I've just said this, I am not a Julia Fox fan. I just don't get it. I don't understand it. Um, I thought she was better in some parts than he was. So maybe, maybe I am going to be a fan of her someday, but um, I just, because he was just so like over the top when he didn't
Mhm.
necessarily need, when subtlety could have worked even better. Um,
Yeah, like the little nose boop thing they put in the trailer. It's like that was really just not a necessary beat.
I thought it was
You can
funny,
tell that
but
that was something. You can tell that was something he just kind of did in the moment, and it's
yeah,
like
yeah,
not everything like that needs that punctuation, you know?
right. Yeah, there was just something that bothered me when I left the theater yesterday. I was like, it's not a bad film. It's not a great film by any stretch,
Mhm.
but it's competent. Isn't that our damning with faint praise phrase?
That is what we
Um,
use. Competent, yes.
it is very competent. It is gorgeously shot. Again, if it was a music video, I would have sat there for 2 hours watching a music video, because like, just the visuals alone. But
Right.
yeah, I just can't really recommend it. Somebody asked me today, and I was like, I don't. It's fine. It's streamable. Um,
Get a 6-pack of that, that THC drink and watch it. You'll have
Smoke
a
a bowl
great
and
time.
watch it. Smoke a bowl and watch it.
Like that's the best way to enjoy this movie, because otherwise it's frustrating. Did they no? Did you notice at the end? Did they try to make this like a lifelong conspiracy for this kid that he'd been
Yes,
drawn? Okay, I wasn't
chosen. Yeah,
sure,
they
because like they
said.
didn't even the main character, like the character that was supposed to connect this gigantic conspiracy, is not a character in this movie. The owner of the San Antonio Saints, he's there, but he's not a character. He doesn't play a major role in this.
Yeah, well, the person who says it, though, is his agent. He says,
Mhm.
"What do you think we fucking did? We groomed you for your entire life," and they implied that they killed his father.
Right. Like that was the sacrifice he had to make, was his dad being
Yeah,
killed so he could become the but then why does he still have to end up fighting Marlon Wayans or whatever? I don't understand.
I don't
This
think
was
the
the
movie
plan all
really
along.
understands.
Why did it matter what Marlon Wayans did if that was the plan all along?
Yeah, I don't think that the movie really understood itself. Um,
Yeah.
I think it was more about, let's be really cool and mysterious and pretend we're as good as something like Us,
Yeah.
which Us is
Yeah, I'm
amazing.
it is. It is. And I've got an opening shots column about that movie that tells you
It
even more about why it's so fucking amazing.
That movie
Uh
is the only movie I've ever seen that wasn't a Star Wars movie twice in the same weekend,
mm.
because I loved it so much.
I'm genuinely excited to see what Justin Tipping does next, because I think he's got an incredible amount of talent. I just think this story let him down. I think he
Yeah.
got I think he got to the end of this and didn't quite know what to do with it. Didn't quite know what they had, and this is what it is. This is what the movie is. I think he did the best with what he had. and, and I think he's a talented director. I do, like I said, I think this is almost a 3 out of 5 star movie, just because it's so visually dynamic. But
Hmm.
I don't necessarily know if I mean 3 out of 5 stars as a recommendation for this movie.
Yeah.
Elsewhere, in other movies this weekend, a movie I can very easily recommend because I adore it all to hell, is A Big, Bold, Beautiful Journey, starring Colin Farrell and Margo Robbie, in the story of two people who are brought together by fate via a strange uh, car rental conspiracy. This is a, I'm, I'm not even joking about that. Like, fate conspires with them through a car rental service to get them together. This is directed by Kogonada, who's one of my favorite directors. He directed Columbus with John Cho not all that long ago, which is a fucking brilliant movie that nobody saw. And unfortunately, nobody saw this movie either. But still, I absolutely loved it. Colin Farrell is David. Margo Robbie is Sarah. They're both attending the same wedding. They're both from New York City. And their fate, like I said, is conspiring via this car rental place where Kevin Kline and I can't remember, Phoebe Waller Bridge, as a foul-mouthed car rental agent. Push them into these cars, these 1994 Saturns that aren't even made anymore, because they need to get them these magical GPS devices that will bring them together. Through this journey, inviting them on this big, bold, beautiful journey, they end up going through a series of doors that take them back to moments in their lives and moments that may have happened or didn't actually happen, and the things that come to define who they are as people. Oftentimes, like, we're talking about the imagery of, we're talking about him being so powerful in imagery and how those images should have meant something. Sometimes simplicity gets criticized for being too simple, and I think this movie is incredibly simple. It's he's using doorways is a very specific way it's a very easy framing device. He's also telling you very simply, these are the things that made these two people who they are today, in very simplistic fashion. But sometimes simplicity is just like poetry. It's just things that rhyme. And I think this movie rhymes from beginning to end. The imagery is gorgeous. The performances are wonderful. These two people have incredible chemistry. I loved their moments where they're just having, back and forth dialogue that's just a bit prickly at first, and then kind of growing in care and kindness and love. And then the various doors are very emotional doors. I related to every single one of those. Kogonada loves doors. He loves them as a visual framing device. He also loves them for having, giving various different kinds of meanings, because every door contains a new possibility. Every door you walk through is another possibility. And he loves that. I'm pretty sure. I've never heard him talk about it, but I mean, in Columbus, he literally uses doorways and door frames in every scene to kind of give you a visual, thing to latch onto. It's his favorite. It's his favorite type of visual device. And here he uses it beautifully to tell this story. And I mean, I laughed, I cried, I was just enchanted by it. It's just romantic and beautiful, and I can't recommend it enough.
Hated it. I'm just kidding. Okay, that's the show, everybody. No, it was a very beautiful movie. For me, it was like a musical with no musical numbers.
But one musical number.
Yeah, but you know what I mean. Not
right,
an original, like, not like La La Land, which we'll talk about. But that's what it seemed like to me, and I just was. I was a little pulled out of the fact that there's a 14-year age difference. They try to make it seem like they're the same age. But it was just, they were both kind of, like broken people they could take pieces of their brokenness and fit them into each other. Mm-hmm. If that makes sense.
Absolutely.
And I mean, you knew where it was going to end up. They were going to, definitely going to get together, but the accident and all the stuff that brought up for them while they're on this road trip was the part where, to me, it was like, oh, yeah, everybody gets that in a relationship where, there's a big defining moment that you're suddenly like, all of a sudden, everything comes to a stop and you have to make a choice. And that seemed to be the thing that kind of splintered them apart. Because you can't just be happy. There has to be some conflict, and they were having almost no conflict until that point. Um, I did appreciate, I think, the most the scene where Margot Robbie goes back home and she's 12 years old,
Hmm.
and her mom is Lily Rabe, who I absolutely adore. I love her so
Absolutely
much.
wonderful in this film.
Um, and she is actually married to Hamish Linklater, who plays Colin Farrell's dad in real
Hmm.
life. I didn't know if you knew that.
Hmm.
Um, but I've loved her for years on American Horror Story and just everything she's done. And she just, she had the air, like she said, oh, my mom was always so tired.
Hmm.
And she wouldn't have even had to say that. I could read it in Lily Rabe's eyes where she just loves her daughter so much. But she just was sleeping and she wanted to be able to sleep. And then, just, but as soon as her daughter came in, she loves her more than anything else. So she got up and made her some mashed potatoes so they could watch Big together.
Yeah.
That was that look in her eyes where she was just like, I'm just so tired, but let me go make those potatoes for you. That was like my favorite scene in the entire movie, just because I think we've all been there where our moms have done something not because they felt an obligation, but because they wanted to, even though they probably needed to sleep more or needed to do something else instead.
Hmm.
And that's the scene that really got it for me. I appreciated that a little more than the Colin Farrell being his dad part.
Hmm.
Where it's just like, kind of, yeah, oh, okay, I like you. All right, let's play a video game together. And I still appreciated that, but I was like, that didn't make me miss my dad the way the other scene made me miss my mom. You know what I mean?
Sure. Sure. But
Um,
I think that's also a function of the character who, he had two parents who were always there
yeah,
and are still with him and still so very supportive of him, which creates kind of another emotional block that's not nearly as important or big as the one she's going through, having lost her mother at such a time. Uh, but it did create for him like this this idea of how special he is, and how that made him kind of who he is today. Is Yeah, it was okay for your parents to tell you you're special, and they just meant it that they loved you. That's really what it meant,
yeah,
and not that you are the only person in the world. One
yeah,
lesson
yeah.
that he needed to learn at that moment is that what they meant when they called him special was not necessarily that.
One thing that got me is I went through the entire movie just thinking that this was based on a book
Hmm.
because it seemed like a novel. It seemed very much like a novel, especially like a popular novel. And I was surprised that it was not,
Hmm.
just because of the way it was structured. It felt like it was based on something, and it was not. Oh, and a funny story. So Phoebe Waller Bridge in the first 10 minutes of this movie says fuck more than I think probably Uncut Gems said fuck. Um, and I thought it was
She's
funny.
she got me every
Oh
time
yeah.
she said it.
Well, what got me was when she answers the door, she's speaking in a German accent, and she pulls this German accent until she turns to Kevin Kline and starts talking to him, and then just her normal British accent. And I was like, and then when she turns back to Colin Farrell, she's speaking
Yeah.
in her Russian or German accent again. I'm like, what? This is a choice, and I need to know why who made the choice and why. I love Phoebe Waller Bridge. I think she's one of the reasons that I love the Solo movie so much.
Hmm.
Um, she just like, but the funny story, she says fuck so much. Um, there was I. It was a Tuesday, so it's one of the movies that all the old crowd that gets bussed into the theater went to.
Oh boy.
I saw all the old people. I was like, please let them go to Downton Abbey. Please let them go to Downton Abbey. Well, it turns out Downton Abbey and Big World Beautiful Journey started at the same time, roughly
Hmm.
about the same run time. So they were split between them. And I think I've said this before. Old people in movie theaters talk more than young people. They are more
Mm.
annoying, because of the fact that they just talked. What did she say? Like a lot of that was going on today. But in the first 20 minutes, two men got up and they walked out because they were so mad that they kept saying fuck. And the one guy made sure everybody knew how he was so offended by the word fuck that I'm not proud of this. But he was like, I can't believe they're talking like this. I can't believe they're using that word so much. It's so offensive. And I said, would you shut the fuck up? And I would say that maybe like half the theater really laughed out loud at that. So I'm not proud of it, but I'm proud of the laugh I got. But it sometimes like I can see, yes, sometimes people curse to be like offensive or whatever, but the way that Phoebe Waller Bridge did it in this movie, it was everything.
No, the delivery, the timing,
Yeah.
the randomness of it. It was just this character quirk that she just latched onto that was brilliant. And it's the hallmark of Kogonada. He'll let you find. He wanted her to find that, and she found it, and she found what that character was, and I mean, they needed that. She's also like and she's not a real person. She's more like an inspirational sprite. She's like
Yeah.
she's like a divine inspiration. Her and Kevin Kline both, and
They're fucking
they're the
fairies.
fates. And that she chose that as like a way to differentiate herself. I mean, she's entertaining herself basically. Is what she's doing, and that's just pure confidence in performance. That's just knowing, I'm not here to. I'm here to entertain and to be entertaining, and I don't care if it entertains you or not.
Yeah,
And
she's entertaining herself. That's
exactly.
I'm here to entertain myself. You guys are just doing this whether you like it or not. I'm here to have fun.
And she's fucking brilliant. She's fucking brilliant at it. I love it. I love the way she says fuck. She's great at it. I didn't even recognize Kevin Kline initially, and then
Yeah, same.
once he turns once you get a full face of him, like, oh, that is Kevin Kline. Oh wow,
Yeah.
Kevin Kline. And then he's like this wonderfully dour Eeyore figure next to Phoebe Waller Bridge, and it's like beautiful. What a dynamic. Oh man, he's great. He's like again, he reminded me of like what he used to do in his tiny little Shakespeare roles that he played often. Just God, I loved it. I love this movie. I think it's fantastic.
Yeah, it was
It's
really
beautiful. Good. It's romantic. Nobody went to see it, so it's considered a bomb, which is unfortunate. Kogonada is one of the best directors working today, and if you didn't go see this movie, go see it immediately before it's gone because it's so much better than everything else you're getting.
Yeah. I was
Most
thinking
critics
like,
hated this too, by the way.
yeah, I saw that the scores were really low. I was like, oh, that's weird because I just thought it was a really beautiful movie, beautifully shot and beautifully acted. And I kept thinking to myself, oh, this is a movie I could recommend to my sister because she doesn't like to go to the movies very much.
Uh-huh.
And she likes this kind of thing. So I was like, oh, yeah, I'm going to tell her to go see it. I'm sad that nobody did. Was him number one?
No. I think that it's one of those anime movies. I don't
The
mean to be
Demon
dismissive.
Slayer.
I just didn't see it. I don't.
Yeah.
No, it's one of those anime things. I'm not trying to be dismissive. I swear.
Yeah, I get it.
I'm sure their anime things are quite good. I just don't. It's just not me. But that was number one, and I think Weapons may have actually been number two again.
And it's streaming now. That's amazing.
It's wild. That movie is
Yeah.
incredible. So of course it's rare to see a movie that deserves this kind of success.
I went to Goodwill today and I legitimately started looking for a tracksuit because I'm thinking I might have to go out for Halloween this year as Aunt Gladys.
You heard the announcement, right?
No, we're doing a prequel.
The Aunt Gladys prequel's going ahead.
Oh my God, that's the best news I've ever heard in my entire life. Amy Madigan deserves it. I hope she's in it. I hope it's not, like a Conjuring thing where they're played by younger actors and she just does the voice.
Don't know. I don't know anything beyond Zach Kreger
Vera
himself confirming.
Farmiga as Aunt Gladys.
It'd certainly be better than any of the Conjuring things.
This is true.
To one romance that wasn't successful at the box office to one that absolutely was. Our classic this week is La La Land, starring Ryan Gosling and Emma Stone as another couple who's kind of brought together seemingly by fate. The way that they kind of meet each other is almost fated, but fated in a different way because this movie doesn't go where you think it's going to go. It is a musical and it opens on a big, bold musical note. And Damian Chazelle is a director of vision and excitement and boldness. I may not like Babylon, but again, very bold beginning to end. And here he's incredibly bold beginning to end. He's got this. He uses the steady cam in this scene to start the movie to via there's like 3 unbroken takes cut together to make one seemingly unbroken take that tells you that is telling you more than you even realize it's telling you, because it actually is layering in little bits of the story that you're going to see in this story about people who've come to Hollywood to live their dreams. And the subtle way he does that, obviously you wouldn't notice it the first time you see it because you don't know what's going to happen yet. But it just sort of rewards you when you go back to watch this movie again, that there are little story elements that are seated in that opening song. And then, of course, you don't even see Ryan Gosling and Emma Stone until they're flipping each other off as they're passing each other on the road. This movie is terrific, and the chemistry of Ryan Gosling and Emma Stone is amazing, especially very early on. There's an early dance sequence where they're walking together to her car, and it just leads to this wonderful tap dance sequence that is just inspired. It's lovely. It's romantic. The 2 characters are just having the best possible time. These 2 actors are having a great time. You can see in Ryan Gosling, he has this passion for jazz music and the way that that's expressed and used as the thing that may be his actual true passion, as opposed to being with someone who loves him. That's really kind of poignant and beautiful. And that's really makes up like a lot of moments in this movie. But obviously, I think for most people, the best moment is that Emma Stone song where she sings about her aunt and the swimming in the Seine and that little spark of madness. That is one of the most beautiful moments in film history to me. I think it's gorgeous. It's moving. I tear up when I hear it, but I'm also just like filled with joy listening to it. And that's this movie. That's really what La La Land is. It's this bundle of joy as a movie.
Yeah, watching the 2 of them have pretty much the most amazing chemistry on film in the last 10 years. It's a beautiful film. It's beautifully shot. I saw this before I ever went to Griffith Observatory for the first time, and I was just like, oh, I was kind of reliving it in my head as I was there. And if you've never been to Griffith Observatory at sunset, you should definitely do it, because this is the whole, this film is really just it's a love letter to LA and a love letter to like romantic comedy musicals, starring LA. It's like, the struggles, the traffic, the locations, all of that is just, it's all the best parts. It makes you want to immediately move there. Oh, well, I mean, so did Maxine, but that's just because I'm a sick fucker. But, it's like, it's like, the grit and grime and everything of Maxine, when it comes to LA and Hollywood Boulevard and everything, this is like the antidote to that. It sets it up that it's really a beautiful city. It is in parts. It sets it up that like there's magic around every corner, which nowadays there's really not, because Hollywood's not really there. I mean, it literally is, but you know what I mean? Mm-hmm. It's like everybody's filming all over the world now, and Budapest and etc. But it's this it's not what made me fall in love with LA, but I did remember this movie when I went to LA for the first time the next year,
Hmm.
and I you kind of wish that everybody was Emma Stone and Ryan Gosling when you're out there, because then it would it's would make it so much more magical.
True. Very true.
It's
Yeah, it's it's funny you mentioned that people, that they don't shoot many movies in Hollywood anymore. And it's like, when you think about it, there's almost more backlots in this movie and Maxine than there are in any other modern movie
yeah.
anymore.
Well,
Whereas,
and
back in the day,
Big
obviously
Bold Beautiful
backlots
Journey.
were the most wonderful. They were the tool that everybody used, was those amazing Hollywood backlots
Yeah.
that they can now make with CGI, so they don't need them anymore.
Well, I can guarantee you that the last scene in Big Bold Beautiful Journey, I
Mhm.
that is 100% backlot.
Yeah, which I
So
love. I love that.
yeah.
That's wonderful. But yeah, that's just kind of a funny observation. Damian Chazelle's love for old MGM musicals is just all over this from beginning to end, to the
Mhm.
point where the level of detail. The movie opens with a title card that says "shot in Panavision," and it's like, that's amazing. Like, just to be that detailed about your love of old MGM musicals, to include that is just phenomenal. Like, that's just great. Uh, those little touches are just throughout the entire film. It just makes it that much more exciting. And then, yeah, it's dramatic. It's got this wonderful, that point in the middle where they're coming apart, and then they come back together, but they're coming apart again. Like,
Mhm.
oof. And then it has the boldness to stick with its ending. It doesn't try to force anything to be perfect or happy. Um, it's so much more dynamic than that, and it understands that there are more important things than your big Hollywood ending.
Yeah. Yeah, just it's this and Big Bold Beautiful Journey as a double feature, I think would be really great.
That would be a magical night.
Yeah. So if let's get somebody to program that at a theater sometime.
Oh, absolutely. That would be that would be so wonderful to watch those two movies back to back, which I almost did. I kind of I saw Big Bold Beautiful Journey, and then several hours later, I watched La La Land. But yeah. Oh man, yeah, it's interesting. We're sitting here and we're praising La La Land because it deserves it, but it's not to say that if you look back at the Oscars, it deserved to win. I would still pick Moonlight as the movie that is
Yeah.
of that year. When you're putting those movies together head to head, if you're going to pick one that is more accomplished, I think Moonlight is not a movie I ever want to see again, because it is too emotional. Like, it hits hard. I don't know. I'll watch it again one day, but probably not anytime soon, because it definitely affected me. But this is a much easier watch, obviously, and that makes it easier to praise.
Yeah.
Moonlight is much more complicated and hard, and it deserved every inch of that Academy Award victory. Two things can be true at the same time: that La La Land is an incredible movie, and that Moonlight deserved to win the Academy Award that year.
Yeah. I mean, this was briefly a briefly a winner.
Yeah. Uh, Warren Beatty tried to make it happen.
Yeah. Well, it was more Faye Dunaway.
Was it?
Yeah.
My memory is unclear of who fucked up.
Oh, she read it. So yeah, that was a moment. I was still
That
I
was
that was I remembered that moment for years.
you got to bring it up when you talk about these movies, because I mean, it's the one thing that everybody remembers, even more than how incredible these two movies were, is that moment.
Yeah.
Which is
Mm.
unfortunate, because these two movies are absolutely incredible. Like, it's amazing that we had both of those movies in one year.
Yeah.
Like, had there been a tie, like, I'd been perfectly all right with that.
Yeah. Well, and I kind of wish that we'd had this moment when they announced Crash instead of Brokeback Mountain.
Right. Where was somebody to do the right thing that night and read the
Right?
wrong name?
Oh,
Oh, Crash was such a mistake.
yeah,
Jesus.
from beginning to end.
So, but it did teach me the lesson that I've got to really, think for myself more, because I was so much at the time in 2005, I was in such fealty to Ebert that I think I overlooked a lot of, the issues with Crash intentionally because I wanted to mirror what my hero said.
Yeah.
Because film critics aren't perfect. There's no such thing. My opinion is never going to be the only correct opinion, and I would never accept that as a standard for myself. I'm not that arrogant. I know there are a
That's
lot
why
of
we hate
critics who
that.
are that arrogant. There's a lot of
Yeah.
critics who are, who say that, kind of, or at least act like their opinion is the one that matters. But nah,
And
it's more
that's
about.
why I hate critics.
Next week, one battle after another with Paul Thomas Anderson getting incredible reviews for that one. I'm so excited to see this movie and see what the vision is. I'm also on the opposite end, excited in a different way to see how bad The Strangers Chapter 2 can be compared to the first one.
Oh,
I can't wait for the scene, Jeff. I want her to be sitting in her hospital bed and her phone chimes, and it's her Chime app telling her that she got a new deposit. Oh no. Oh wait, the hospital debited my account. Okay, I've already paid for my hospital visit. This is great. Thank you, Chime. I've got to run for my life now.
God, I've blocked that entire first one out. That fucking unnecessary. Oh, God.
The first movie in history to actually like stop down and do a commercial for 30 seconds and then go back to the movie.
It was like, yeah,
So,
remember I said it was like Wayne's World.
it was worse than Wayne's World because they treated it like it was like they weren't in on the joke.
Yeah.
Like she legit just does a Chime commercial and then they go back to doing the movie.
Well, and the original Strangers is one of the only movies that I couldn't watch after I got broken into when I lived in New York City.
Mhm.
Like I literally couldn't watch that movie for a full year until I moved back to Chicago. Um, because it was unsettling. And I, to this day, I still love that movie for that reason. Um, I mean, I love it because I think it's good, but I, I think, and I said that I was talking to a coworker not too long ago when I found out that this one was coming out. And he said, I can't believe they just remade The Strangers like right away. And it seems like I said they did it because everybody at the time hated Pray at Night. And I have come to appreciate Pray at Night as kind of like a hymn, where it's not a great movie, but it's got some really cool visuals in it. Um, that's I that's as good a reason to like that movie as any I think.
Uh-huh.
Um, but I just have a feeling that they're like, well, we killed the franchise with this one sequel. What do we do now? Well, I guess we just reboot the whole thing instead of making another sequel. So I don't know.
Yeah.
I'm not looking forward to this one.
I'm just dreaming of the various places where they might put some products that they can stop and do a commercial break for, I
Uh,
get it. You got to pay for your movie, but Jesus Christ, that's one of the worst scenes in film history. that,
yeah.
that chime scene in the original movie. Like, I swear to God, she's talking about like the financing charges. Like, in my memory, it keeps growing that she's talking about the various benefits of chime.
Like she literally stops the movie and looks right at the camera and says, when I'm having issues with money, I go to Chime because
Look, honey, this even improved my FICO score.
oh my God. I'm gonna have to watch that before, like I said,
I'm
I've
building.
blocked it out.
I'm building it up like it was probably slightly more subtle than it out to be, but not by much. Not by much.
Oh, I'm sure. I'm sure. I don't, like I said, I blocked it. I don't remember it. I hated it because it was so unnecessary and I only watched it because of the show. So,
Mm, it's such fucking trash. Mm. Yeah, so that's gonna be. I mean, the bar is so low. Maybe it'll end up being good. Who knows? But then you look at who's directing it, and you think that's just not possible. That man just doesn't have a talented bone in his body. So yeah, there's that. All right.
uh,
And there's one more new movie coming out, which I've heard amazing things about. It's called Eleanor the Great. It stars June Squibb. She's 98 years old and she's still killing it. It's getting just
directed by Scarlett
incredible
Johansson.
reviews, and I'm just very very eager to see that movie, and it's going to be in our area this weekend. So hopefully, I'll get the chance to check that one out, and we'll maybe if we have time, maybe we'll throw it in the opening next week.
Yeah. I would like to see that. I loved Thelma and I
Yeah,
really
that's
loved
what
Gene Squibb. So,
it's big part of the reason why I'm so excited about this one is seeing her in another lead role.
yeah, can't
All
believe
right,
she's
Jeff,
still
thanks.
at it. So, I'm going to go
Thanks, Jeff.
watch The Strangers. Have a good night.
Yeah.
Bye.